fundamental component of all creation is that of free will. It is not always understood properly, but it involves avoiding constraints on creatures. The higher up the intelligence ladder you wander, the greater the necessity of free will. And while Drago committed a multitude of atrocities while leading Mars, it was his clampdown on free expression. Dragos demanded absolute obedience from everyone on Mars, resulting in a dystopian nightmare. An invasion for its abundance of materials that Dragos had siphoned and wasted on Mars. Specifically gold was the worst of all decisions. Dragos' flying machines of fire were very successful, but so were the Venetian counterattack, leaving both barren and forgotten, except in the lore of the earth. The lessons that should have been learned lie forgotten as well. And as no lesson was yet learned, it was essential that the Raven intervene. The Martian Empire was indeed a marvel to behold, not quite a marvel to endure as an ordinary citizen. Their proclivity to force was everywhere, a militaristic, imperialistic, unquestioned empire. Dragos demanded to be revered. In many realms, he was considered most wise indeed. So how could all this fail so miserably? It's simple. The universal design has a flow that values the smallest as the largest. It's the whole that truly matters. And Dragos was wholly decadent. No, it's not my intent to toss around lightly the word decadent, but clearly Dragos had become decadent. It was not a matter of debate any longer. He had destroyed his realm of Mars. His punishment was surely like to have been sent to the underworld. But he had tragically escaped his chains in the underworld, and Dragos was intent on reclaiming his title as the wisest of the wise. Dragos was not finished in his own eyes. However, all things may be possible, but all things are not wise. And many things that Dragos pursue, these things shake themselves out. It's called karma. Not one for us to worry about another in that manner. And so when I say Dragos was decadent, it was an observation and not a judgment. The fact that the chopping of the last tree on Mars went unnoticed did not go unnoticed with one. John Luke was the one who witnessed the last Martian tree chopped down. And John Luke managed to be part of the remnant that began life fresh and anew in the mirror world, the Middle Earth. Yes, Mars chopped down their last tree, and it went unnoticed because they were so busy being the most dynamic empower. A desire to appear dominant was more important than preserving the very basis of their prosperity. Yes, the trees are very important to a realm. Imagine it being an Airbnb. You walk into the realm, they hand you the keys, and there will be lots of trees. Lots of trees. Of course, there'll be other things as well, but certainly the trees are a big part of any realm, especially one like the three sisters, Mars, Venus, and the Earth, and now the Middle Earth. To understand the universe, it probably helps to understand how it actually looks, or how it's laid out. As far as I've observed, rather the universe itself, a vast ocean, and round, or like islands. They're all connected, you see. Even though they may be separated by the water, there's a connection between all the realms. Call them wormholes, call them gateways. Typically, there are 4 to every realm. The wind and the water can pass through these gates. And sometimes, other worldly creatures can also enter a realm unbeknownst to the inhabitants. This is, of course, strictly forbidden. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen. In the realm of the middle world was where the earthly connection met the Martian connection halfway, and they built an alternate world for the remnant survivors of Mars. It was not easy at first. Building a realm normally has much more preparation. An emergency setup was arranged, and life took hold very firmly there. And soon, the Middle Earth became a lush, fertile land, and the remnants of Mars and Venus became as one, and they loved their new home. However, we did mention some nefarious character earlier, primarily, of course, Dragos, and of course escaped from the underworld. It was headed to the Middle Earth. The signs of his presence were abundant. And I ventured down into the land itself to become acquainted with how it was laid out. Well, after all, I came to this realm for a purpose. The purpose of finding the Ring of OROS. And the secondary purpose of tracking down the most likely hunters of said ring. However, as I believe the ring to be in this realm, and I also believe it's most sought after by Dragos, that there's bound to be some connection. And so I can't spend too much time belaboring about the beauty of this world, but it was a wondrous land indeed. The catacombs beneath Mars were where the outcasts dwelled, the invisible ones in Martian society. As the Empire became more and more intolerant and tyrannical, the numbers living in the catacombs had swelled. Almost no one in polite Martian society survived. Their astounding riches reduced to dust in an instant. It was these at the very bottom that were spared. Little knowledge of the ways of the Martian aristocracy remained. It was similar in Venus. These meek ones did in fact inherit the new realm, known as the Mirror World. And so Dragos would have little chance of swaying these hybrids to abandon what for them was considered a paradise. The hybrids had plentiful food from the abundant land. Shelter was easily arranged in very interesting and creative ways. Their technologies were simple, and they prospered without any official governance. Each was considered as sovereign. Yet, if Dragos could find the Ring of OROS, he could certainly use it to reclaim Mars. The Ring of OROS could ignite unused potential from the unlived timelines remaining on Mars before the end of the sacred cycle. And so, Dragos indeed did have a shot. He could find the Ring of OROS, and he could reinvigorate his Martian realm. It all could still happen. But, as the mystery of the universe provides. And so I began my quest, the search for the Ring of OROS, the full knowledge that there were several others looking for it with equal ardor as my own. Dragos was the most powerful of the three, but he was also the most desperate. Dragos had to find the Ring of OROS, as he had no other option. However, the other two were very capable. Lictor, being the gatekeeper of the underworld, had greatly assisted Dragos in his escape from his chains. Peter had hoped to unite the Middle Earth under his rule, although they had done perfectly well with their own sovereignty. And without the Ring of OROS, this would be a most difficult assignment. And of course, as for Lictor, the ever among us, the ambitious one who simply wants more glory and has no idea of the price. If Dragos were any indication of the price of glory, the cost of a realm, then certainly it would be too high for the other two. As with the wind, there are four directions, and as with this quest, there are four principles, myself included, and the three others. I decided I would have to get to know this realm, and had settled in, and fancied myself a nice nesting area, where it was apparent that I would be in the middle world for some time. The friends I could make along the way could greatly aid travesty from developing. And as long as it's out there, there'll always be some megalomaniac that desires its amazing power. I was now certain that the Ring of OROS was in this realm, but where should we begin?